afternoon, Thomas. How are you?
I'm very well. You, Richard?
Yeah, good, thank you. First of all, is there any team news going into tomorrow night's game?
No, I'm always a little bit down, but no. Maybe some of the minor injury guys could be back. No. Same squad for the game.
We're also at the business end of the season. This is your game in hand, Thomas. Are we at a point now when you look at that league table, and if you want to gain promotion automatically, at least, do you view this as a must-win game?
I think there has been a lot of must-win games, and there always are. I think we will go out there and take initiative. We will attack. We will do everything we can to win the game. Also try to think offensively in the end of it. I think we did that in the end. If you look at the types, in the end of the Millwall game, we ended with 3 strikers more or less and 3 wingers, and then 2 central midfielders and 2 centre backs. So we'll try to think forward, of course, but we know it's a tough task ahead of us. I think Cardiff is a good side. They bring very big physicality. They are by far the best in the league on set pieces, and I think they have that very defensive solidness, so they are difficult to break down. And then I think actually in some of the players, I think Kiefer Moore have had a very good season. I think Wilson is a top player, so I think they have some players we need to be aware of. And then finally Mick McCartney, I think I'm looking forward to welcome him to our new stadium. A manager that has been in charge of a team's 1,000 or more than 1,000 games is incredible, and he have my deepest respect for giving everything to the game. That's incredible.
You touched upon there, you expect it to be a physical game. How much of an impact do you think Mick McCarthy has had on Cardiff since you went there?
No, I think instantly he had a impact. I think they went on I don't remember, but a lot of games unbeaten. I think, or some 5, 6, 7 games in a row where they won. So they were in touching distance of the playoffs. And then we know the championship is so difficult to get that, unbelievable consistency. So I think he's done a very good job. I think he stabilized them and put them up to a higher, a bit high level. But I also think that. I think we forgot that Neil Harris did a good job before that as well, and he got them in the play of the year before. So it's fine margins.
I suppose if you want to look at it from a positive perspective as well, if you are to win promotion automatically, this is the way you'd like to do it in a running, beating Cardiff, Bournemouth, Watford, all on that schedule. Yeah.
I think in the run-in, I think it's only Norwich that's been that good, of course. And that fortunate to be in that position. You always need a little bit. It's not lucky that they're up there. Don't get me that, but you need that ball to drop for you sometimes. They've done fantastic. The rest, I think, we know will come down to the last round most likely. We need to do our job. I think also look the game back at Millwall. I think they defended well. I think there was a lot of positive to take forward. Even more when I looked the game back, but it was the decisive pass. Action, decision making in the final third against a team that defended very, very deep and well.
And lastly from me, Thomas, slightly away from Brentford if I can. Obviously the last 24 hours have been dominated by this story regarding a formation of the European Super League. As the manager of a team that could get potentially promoted to the Premier League if things went your way this season, what is your reaction to this concept, this idea of a Super League where the elite seems to be immune from relegation as well?
Yeah, I think of course from a club perspective that statement need of course to come from Rasmus Ankersen or Phil Giles, but for me personally, I can say that I honestly don't get it. I think football is just like the world. It's a big organic organism that need to work together and need to take care of each other. And I think football in some ways is, it was created by the poor, but it's close to be spoiled by the rich. This moment in time, I can't really get it. What I really like about Bayern Munich, for example, and Dortmund, but especially Bayern Munich, they know in Germany that they are the biggest club. They've been so dominant. But there's a lot of examples where they have helped, for example, Dortmund when they were close to get bankrupt, because they know they need them. They need others to compete, or they need a organic system underneath them to grow the football. So they will kill football that way. At least the joy, and not for me.
Just last question: how heartening is it then, given what you've just said, that it's not just footballers that have voiced their concerns about it, but you've had other athletes, you've had pundits, politicians have been very vocal as well. It's across the whole spectrum, it appears.
Yeah, but also I think it's so egoistic. I can't really. How much money do you want? I think I think everyone who work in the business needs to really understand there's a massive privilege, and we have a big responsibility to make it an ongoing joy for everyone who loves football around the world. And of course I know that you need to be better and bigger and all that and compete, but there must be another way. There must be. I think there's a lot of money in Premier League. I think there's a lot of money in Champions League. I think the biggest clubs, the merchandise where they try to go out to Asia and stuff like that. There must be another way. I really can't see it. Understand.
Thanks very much for your time, Thomas.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi Thomas.
Hi Phil.
Just sticking with that theme before talking about tomorrow's game, just briefly, as a manager, you've obviously taken a team into European competition when you're at Bromby. The sort of the nature of sporting integrity of having a competition where people can theoretically, teams, clubs with good management, with good structure, can get themselves into competitions against other teams across Europe, so-called big teams, little teams. Is that not an essence of what sport's about?
Yeah, I think you're bang on there, Phil. I think one of the things we love by football is that it's not just that easy for one team to be the dominant team for years, because the difference between the top teams and the medium teams or level teams is not that big, and that's why it makes football so interesting, and that's why every single game you don't know 100% the outcome, and I think that's a big part of when you compete, and I also love the story when some teams actually get into the Euros or the Europa League or the Champions League, and they actually make some big results. I understand that, but it's all about the balance, because I understand also I like to see, of course, I like to see in Champions League, I like to see the biggest clubs in the semi-final, for example, just on a personal view. But I love the story if once in a while other clubs do well in Champions League through the tournament. So I think we need both. It can't only be the big clubs and small ones. We need both. Just in life, we need the balance.
Brilliant. And Brentford, maybe the way that Brentford go about doing their business is counterculture to just necessarily throwing huge amounts of money at it anyway, isn't it? Really, still trying to achieve that game of automatic promotion. Do you pay any attention to the games that Watford have left?
Yeah. It's easy to say, next game. Of course, I know they're facing the next 4 games, but honestly, I can't use that too much. So I'm aware of it, but it's all about how can I prepare the team like we did on the training pitch today. How can we maximize focus on the performance and the win we want to have on Tuesday night. It's all about that, and then we've seen so many times after each round it's changed a bit, and then one team is on an unbelievable run and then another one, so it goes up and down. I think one thing is for sure, I'm pretty sure that Watford is not going to win the next 4 games. If they do, I'll just clap my hands and say well done. And we know what we need to do. We need to win the next game.
And I suppose, sometimes it's a cliche, isn't there, that once teams know their fate, if, they're going to finish mid-table, sometimes they can relax, they they may not be as dangerous opponents as teams that have something to play for. But if ever a lesson that anyone needed, that's not the case, Millwall would have been it, wouldn't they? They went out there to determine to do what they wanted to.
Yeah, 100%. I think Millwall was a very good example. I think it showed that they have a good culture, a good coach and good coaching staff. So you play a match, try to win the match, because you play for the club, for the fans, for your teammates, for your family, for yourself, and it's in the nature of the game. You want to win the game, and all of them are competitors. So I especially in that moment when you're competing, I think you just lose everything around you. You're just focused. Then of course, if you are in a bad moment mentally or there's not, then maybe you can lose it during a game. So there's no easy games. Of course, if we're that lucky that you're up 3-0, then maybe it could open up. But until the first goal or the second, it will be a battle. And I know Cardiff maybe mathematically don't have that much to play for. If you're talking of playoff is the only thing. I still think a 7th position is better than 8th, and 8 is better than 9. I think that means something. So we know it's going to be an unbelievable battle where we need to match them physically, and we need to be very good on the ball.
You're not going to give away your tactics to your team, obviously, Thomas, but could we expect another little tweak for tomorrow's game after what happened on Saturday?
Of course, we tried to. I think the thing was that let's say the system we played against Preston was the same we played against Millwall, and I think there were still bits that worked really well, especially when I watched the game back. In the moment you tend to forget, then you found out we ended in some really good situations where we just didn't have the decisive quality in the pass. Decision, touch, where we could have made the beautiful breakthrough. So that's what we've been working on. But also, of course, we will always try to tweak it a bit. That could be the system, that could be players, that could be positions. Try to find a bigger possibility to open the game.
And just in regards to the team and the players this year, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and hopefully this won't be taken that way, but there's been certain players who maybe have played bigger roles than would have initially been expected, have had to slip into different positions than would have been expected. I'm thinking Vitaly Janelt, who we've obviously talked about before, Mads Bech Sorensen, who's had to slip into the left-back role. How pleased have you been with the adaptability of your players, of the fact that some of these players have actually stepped up, maybe in a way that they weren't expecting to in such a big way when the season started?
Yeah, no, I'm very, very pleased with the players that needed to step in, and I think it's two really good examples in Mads Bech and Vital. That from the first game of the season, maybe we're not predicted the biggest role because of someone ahead of them at that moment in time. Then we got some of the injuries that we were a little bit unfortunate with, but both of them performed unbelievably well. And I think also for the two of them, they have such a strong mentality. So they are ready when the chance are given to them. So they are not need to grow into a role. No, they more or less hit the ground running. And then of course with more game time developed and become very important players. So I think that's important, but I also think it's important that the subs are ready. We need game changers. And unfortunately, we have 25 players in the squad, only 11 can start. The next need to, and it's difficult, I understand that, but it is a part of it, and put the ego to the side and be ready to come on and know in them I can do that decisive action that can change the game, because most likely it could be a game against Millwall where we are playing against a 5-4-1 at moments. We need to break them down. They're physically, and it will take time. So maybe it's the last 20 minutes that we need to win the game.
Just finally for me then, sorry about this. You talk about you have a big squad, you can only pick 11 to start, you can only pick so many on the bench. Is that, from your point of view, as a personal point of view, is that one of the hardest bits of the job, Thomas? To turn around to a player and say, you're not in the 11, I'm sorry, I can't even put you on the bench today.
Yeah, because they don't think it, but at least I can say what I feel and try to. I care about every single one of them, and of course the 11 get more attention, because then you speak a little bit about tactics going to be, so they just get more contact. I think 100% it's the hardest part, and especially those players that are 12, 13, 14, 15. In a way they should be pleased, because they are still in a better place than the guys who are 16, 17, 18, but you don't think about that. You only look and see it from your own perspective. So I do, so it's not against them. But that you can't give them what they think they deserve, because they potentially work as hard. So maybe it's the type, maybe it's because it's me that take that decision, and I want that type, or I can see that in him. That is by far the toughest decision, and I'm pleased actually to say that I don't think it's a nice thing to let the players down by not picking them. But I'm pleased that I have that feeling inside, because then I know I have hopefully good emotional intelligence and empathy. That I think is very important, but it is difficult.
I bet. Brilliant. Thomas, see you tomorrow. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, welcome.